What's up guys, and welcome to another Miata video. Today we're going to be moving forward on the air suspension. Of course, in the last video you saw us put on the rear struts, get all the lines run, and then we were going to put in the front struts, but we had some clearance issues on the upper control arm, so we got those things grinded down to make some room for them. The paint's on there, it's had time to dry, so today we're going to be popping in the front struts and hopefully running the lines and getting that all dialed in and figured out. Besides that, we kind of have all the big projects done, so it's just a matter of putting it all together. So I'm looking forward to getting this project done. We're getting close, guys, and I couldn't be more excited about it. So I got my front D2 air strut next to my front teen coilover. As you can see, the D2s are much shorter, so I'm gonna adjust the height of the D2 to match the teen, just as a baseline, and then I could adjust the height accordingly if it's sitting too high. Before I actually pop the front struts in, I gotta figure out the length of the airlines and how to run it through the firewall. So I'm gonna do that right now. So we've decided that we're gonna run the main airline through this rubber boot where the wiring harness comes in. It's then gonna go across the dash to the glove box where all the other stuff is. Quick update, we got the line run through. So the easiest way I found to make a hole in this boot was to make a little X with an X-Acto knife. And then just push it through. Kind of hard to see, but you can see this black line that's right here where the light is shining. Just follow that back and that comes right through the firewall in that area next to the wiring harness. And then from there it's routed underneath the steering wheel, under these plastics, through the same place that all the other wires are run. And then it pops out the other side right here. So now we got to estimate the length of the lines that are going to go to the struts. So this is where it comes out the firewall. It's going to have a T on here. It's going to tee off and go down through this hole right here. And then to the strut that's going to be mounted right there. So we just need to figure out that length. And then coming off the other side of the T, it's either going to run right in front of the firewall, or if we can figure out a place to run behind the firewall that's out of the way of these wiper arm things. And it's going to come out the same side through this hole and to the strut that's going to be right here. Decided to run the airline through this hole. There's a grommet that fits, and then rather than going below here and kind of interfering with this wiper mechanism, we're going to go over the top of this plastic and then along, and there's no clearance really issues at that end, it's just this end. So we got it taped off. We're actually going to cut this high point down to allow the line to sit a little lower than this. All right, I took this little hobby knife saw thing and was able to notch this section right here. So now with the line in, it has that little notch to sit in, and it'll obviously continue along this channel. All right, so with the strut in and adjusted to the height that I think it needs to be, we got the fitting coming off the top of the strut right here, and then this is the airline. So you're gonna push the hose onto the nipple of this fitting, and then you tighten the little compression nut, whatever you want to call it, down on top of it. After talking with the guy at D2, he said you do not need any Loctite or Teflon tape. He actually told me to never use Teflon tape and give it to your plumber. So just a little tip for you guys. Wanted to mention that for all the lines that we're cutting, I'm using this line cutter here. Got it off of Amazon. It's the same one that like Airlift sells. It's about 10 bucks, but it's really important that you have a nice square cut so that it mates to the connector properly. All right, so we officially have the front lines run. I'll give you a little walk around to show you how we set everything up. Starting from the driver's side strut, we got the line running out the back, coiling down around. Painted these clips black to keep it from rusting, and it just looks pretty clean, and it holds that line nice and out of the way, so it's not going to be interfering with that strut as it goes up and down. It then goes through this rubber grommet right here. We have a little hidden hole drilled in this air filter snorkel right here. It comes straight through here and then out the side of this rubber grommet, tucks nicely behind here to our T fitting right here. This one goes through the car, through that boot down there that I showed you earlier, and then this tees off, coils up through this firewall hole right here. It runs in this little shelf next to the wiper mechanism, comes across to this side through that notch that we made earlier, and then through another rubber grommet right here. This line just kind of sits on top of everything. I found that that was like the easiest and cleanest way to do it without putting too many bends in the line. Goes through this rubber grommet right here into the passenger wheel well, and then does the same thing that we did on the driver's side. So I think right now I'm kind of gonna stop while I'm ahead. I'm really stoked with the progress that we made today. I think I'm gonna pick this video up tomorrow. So it's now the next morning and I started working on the glove box. It's kind of the last point where all the lines meet that I have not finished up yet. So I took the gauge panel, put it inside the glove box, and then did my best to kind of mark where the panel is gonna sit on either side here. So I'm going to go ahead and drill a couple holes on both sides through the plastic first, put the panel in, and then hopefully that'll be much easier to get the screws into the panel in the correct position. Also pumped to be using this new Milwaukee drill. This thing is super teeny with this little micro battery. It's really convenient in tight spaces like this. All right, we got the holes drilled into the glove box itself. Then I popped the panel back in where my tape marks are, so the holes in theory should be in the correct spot. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the same drill to now drill a pilot hole into the wood, and then I'll use the screws to hold it in place. And we officially have that panel mounted in the glove box. Got 2 screws on each side. At this point on the passenger side here, we have all the lines ready to go. So this is the line that's coming off the front 2 wheels. This is the ground and power for the gauge panel light. And then we have our lines right here that are the air lines coming from the back. So at this point we need to put the glove box in and connect all the lines. I went ahead and tucked all the lines away, so you can see them coming from the trunk here. They're gonna run down along this side, and then under the carpet along the door sill here, and it pops out the back right here. Here's a quick shot of the glove box with all the lines and fittings connected. Tried to leave enough slack in the line so that I could detach the glove box like this if need be, and I should be able to tuck these under the dash so you can't see them anyway. Here we go, all installed under the dash. Everything's nicely tucked away. And then when I open the glove box, bada bing, bada boom, we got our stealth new gauge panel. What's up guys, it is now the next day, and after completing the glove box, switches, and gauge panel you saw in the last clip, today I gotta move to the back and kind of just tidy up everything in the trunk. All the lines are run, everything's kind of good to go. I just have to piece it all together. So hopefully by the end of today, we should have this system fully installed. All right, so in the trunk, I'll show you guys where we're at right now. All these lines and wires are coming from the front of the car. We have our air tank supply right here, so this is gonna actually plug straight into the tank in the back. This is the line that's coming off the switches at the front of the car, so this is actually gonna be teed off to this line right here, which is our driver side rear bag, and to this line right here, which is our passenger side rear bag. So that handles all the air right there. And then we have these 2 wires, the blue and white, that are gonna be attaching to the pressure switch on the back side of the tank. So I've now connected the rear 2 bags to the front. You can see this line and this line, and they connect to this T fitting right there. All the fittings that came with the kit are push to connect, and they're super easy. You literally just push them in and then they lock, but I'm a little skeptical. Like, it seems too good to be true, so hopefully I don't have any leaks because I do not want to replace all these fittings. So hopefully they work as good as they say they do. I called D2 and asked them about it, and they said they haven't had any problems with them, so fingers crossed. So the order that I'm doing things right now might seem kind of random, but as you saw, there's just a bunch of little stuff that I have to kind of tie together. So I did those lines, and now I'm working on the little trunk board thing. So I put the carpet on top. Looks super clean with the black edges now. It makes it look a lot cleaner. But the I put the bolts through here because I can't actually put the tank on until the board is in the car. It won't fit. But I can put the compressor on first, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So it's one less thing that we have to attach after the fact. There we go. compressor mounted to the board. Alright, so officially have all the wires run to this connector that's gonna plug into this relay. So in the back here, we got our main power to the battery. The red and black wires here are power and ground for the compressor. And then this blue wire here is routed to our pressure switch. So when the tank is low, something triggers in here and allows the compressor to turn on. So everything is now routed, ready to plug into the relay. And then we should be good with this part. All right, here's a final look at the trunk. Everything is where it needs to be. It's all tidied up. I don't know if I've already covered this in another video or not, but that's in place. And everything else is ready to go. So I'm gonna start throwing some panels in here and seeing if we can't get this thing looking a little more official. Trunk update number 2 here. It's really hard to film and do this, so I'm just gonna give you some updates. So we got all the carpet panels in on the side, we got the board in, the lines are coming out the carpet where they need to, both here and over here for the compressor. The cubby's in place. So basically we just gotta put that tank on and connect everything. Let's take a final look. There we go. It is fully installed. Everything's connected, got the compressor to the tank. I just did that actually, and I had to put Loctite on it. Obviously, I already did the back fittings the other day, so those had 24 hours to cure, and I forgot that this needs Loctite too, but I couldn't do that until I installed everything. So unfortunately, that means I cannot turn this thing on and actually air out today. I thought I was going to, but I can't, so I'm probably just gonna do a video dedicated to the first air out and doing some last minute tweaks. But as you saw, we are completely installed now, so I'm super stoked. I'm probably gonna put the rest of the interior back in off camera, but yeah, I think that's gonna end it for today's video. Alright guys, it is now the next day. The Loctite should be cured and ready to roll, and I figured it was probably not cool to leave you guys hanging after all that buildup. I'm sure you want to see if this car starts and everything functions properly. So before I end this video, let's fire this thing up and make sure everything is kicking on. So the way we have this wired, the compressor should kick on because there's no air in it currently when the car is in the run position. So once I actually turn the car on, it should fire. So let's see what happens. Alright, so as you can hear, the compressor is on and it is filling the tank right now. So far so good. We do have some buzzing and rattling going on. Not sure where that's coming from, but it's working anyway. So as you just saw, the system is working. Off camera, I was waiting for the pressure to build in the tank enough to turn off the compressor, which it did, and then I started hearing a leak in one of the lines, or in one of the fittings in my glove box. So I was like, oh shit. So I had to turn it off, drain the tank of the air, unplug and replug in that fitting. And right now it's holding air with 70 PSI on all 4 corners. So I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit, make sure that it maintains that 70 PSI. And if it does, we can move on tomorrow to actually putting the wheels back on and trying to get this thing on the ground. All right, well that is gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I will check back with you on the next video where we will be airing this thing out for the first time. So until then, I'll catch you on the flippity flop. Peace.